Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our ANZAC Day Commemoration Service. My name is Brian McCartney and I'm from McCartney Family Funerals. It is my honour and privilege to share with you in this commemoration of our Anzacs. ANZAC Day is a special and very important day for all Australians and New Zealanders. Today and every year on this day, we come together to honour and remember those who fought and died for our countries, and we endeavour to keep the spirit of ANZAC alive. In 1915, Australia and New Zealand were young nations, and World War I was considered a chance for them to prove themselves on the world stage. When the British Empire's call for volunteers came, it was met with much enthusiasm by Australian and New Zealand young men. Thousands enlisted and many still in their teens. Fatefully, the landing of the troops went terribly wrong, and a bitter battle followed. The troops displayed an immense amount of courage and compassion, and today these qualities are known as the ANZAC Spirit, a spirit forever etched in our hearts. It has been argued that what was a great sacrifice for our countries was simultaneously a gift of national identities. For the two young countries, the mark of courage, respect for equality, compassion, loyalty, endurance, and bravery of their young men united them more than the Federation itself. Australians and New Zealanders today continue to fight in other conflicts in far-off lands to defend our shared values and common interests. We meet here today not to glorify war or praise victors, but to remember those who have served our country during times of conflict and crisis, and to reflect upon their selfless sacrifice. To all Australians, ANZAC Day is a tradition, paid for in blood and celebrated in our freedom. It's a day in which not only do we salute Anzacs, but in paying tribute to them, we take an opportunity to invigorate our national spirit and national pride. On this day in 1915, a group of volunteer Australian and New Zealand soldiers found themselves wading ashore before dawn at a small beach on the Gallipoli Peninsula in Turkey. Many of these men were only teenagers, some as young as 16, but all were anxious to prove their courage and to demonstrate their national identity. Over the 8 months following the landing, these young Anzacs underwent a trial by ordeal. In total, 36,000 Australian and New Zealand soldiers were killed or wounded at Gallipoli. But in those terrible battles, young Australians earned a reputation for being determined and tenacious. The experience drew Australians together as a nation and established our national character. The standards they set and the ANZAC Spirit have been handed down ever since to all the Australian soldiers, sailors and airmen who followed them, from World War II to Korea, Malaya, Borneo, Vietnam, the Gulf, and the many peacekeeping operations in the Middle East, Pakistan and Southeast Asia. This same spirit is represented among the diverse groups of veterans who gather today. And as their numbers year on year will dwindle, we will endeavour to keep that ANZAC spirit that was forged at Gallipoli and to make sure that it is never forgotten. And I believe this is why Australians come together every ANZAC Day. We do it to remember the Anzacs, to remember their achievements. And as we do, we should remember them not as old soldiers from a distant war, but as the young Australians they were in 1915. Because of the Anzacs, we have the ability to face challenges together, to overcome them, to put community before self, to be courageous, determined, self-reliant and strong. We should be proud of our heritage. This is the spirit of the ANZAC, the spirit that we must pass to future generations.